a bit of a middle-of-the-pack team, and once that Morgana gets banned out, once that Jax is taken off the table, and yeah, Giant seems to be struggling. And
they seem a little bit lost, and that's exactly, it's a formulaic thing, and this is no strange thing for H2K. They're a team that plays it by the numbers. So far, numbers do not lie.
It does look like, unless H2K ban Ryze or Ekko themselves, one of them will be open. Pretty contested pick so far. I got our stats guy whispering into my ear that Ryze was, for the first time, I think last game, not picked or banned. So he's now at 25 picked or banned out of 26 games that he's been available since his buff, which is insane. And Ekko has been in 14 out of 16 games. And Xerath banned, so they want to deny the comeback potential from PePiiNeRO, deny him the poke. And yeah, H2K doesn't like dealing with these type of champions that can stall out the game easily. You know, poke from far, wave cleave from far. They want to bring it to you, out-rotate you, outsmart you, and then just tear you down on the strategic level.
But one thing that's worth noting here is that for, I think, the first time this split, Odoamne's Rumble has been banned away. No team has been doing this. He's been tearing it up, and he won't have that option.
Yeah, but it does have the option of Ryze right here. Kalista banned out by Giants Gaming. Ekko is up too. Sivir is open too, a staple champion for H2K. They might say, like, we have an answer to everything, so give us the utility on AD carry. We'll out-rotate you with great speed. A lot of options here.
Yeah, and you know, in H2K's hands, in Hjarnan's hands especially, Sivir's almost becomes a hard carry. He went 12-0-13 in that game. Absolutely insane. I do not blame them in the slightest for locking this in first and saying, go ahead and take the Ryze. We can handle it.
Yeah, I think you can drop the almost and just becomes a hard carry. He does everything right with Sivir, and his team rather plays around it perfectly too. So not afraid to play that early. And with the spell shield and with good positioning and with good peel from KaSing, it's incredibly hard to take down a Sivir. Where actually has a relatively weak laning phase, H2K usually swaps out of that or just manages to stay even. They have died a couple of times in that 2v2 lane at the start of the split, I feel, but they've tightened up their play. A lot more secure, a lot more calculated. And now Giants, they're like, okay, we just got donated Ryze and Ekko. Do we actually want those picks? Did H2K leave them open with a reason? Are we gonna get countered here? Almost seems too easy.
Yeah, questions going through their head right now. Well, clearly the Ekko is valued enough. They also decide to take the Thresh. This is a pick away from KaSing. And of course, we'll see what GODFRED can make of it.
But yeah, you steal the Thresh away from KaSing, but then you play it into a Sivir, who has spell shield for the hook at least. So you'll have to try and get the spell shield down with Flay. Or, kill the spell shield with hook and then Flay immediately if you want to threaten her at all. And it's hard to hit targets in fights with On the Hunt, because you're used to people dodging in a certain direction at a certain move speed, but with On the Hunt, that gets very complex in these fights. However, talking about complex, Ekko picked up. Where's he gonna go? It seems like a PePiiNeRO champion to me. It feels like PePiiNeRO could excel at Ekko in the mid lane.
I think that's definitely true. We're gonna have to wait until the next rotation to see if Giants opt for that strategy or if they decide to go for something a little bit different. We've seen it play top, we've seen it play jungle, but I agree, PePiiNeRO most likely champ, or most likely guy to go to.
Yeah, we actually probably have to wait 2 more rotations, I feel.
Wondering when this Gragas would go over.
This is actually interesting. I think I missed this, and I should have actually pointed out on the first rotation. There were so many picks that Giant wanted. They wanted to steal the Thresh, they wanted to secure the Ekko, but they left open a tier 1 jungler for H2K on their second rotation on blue side. That is quite unheard of. Getting Gragas for free, pretty much.
Third rotation, yeah.
Yeah, or respectively on their second rotation. Call it what you want. Rek'Sai was banned out by Giants Gaming and did not pick up the Gragas on their first rotation. So that's peculiar, and I would even call it a mistake.
I'll have to see if it does end up costing Giants in the long run. The Gnar is also locked in for Odoamne, and let's see what Giants do decide to go for.
That means the Ekko is likely going jungle, because he's probably the third best pick in the jungle right now. If both Rek'Sai and
could always flex it though.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't like the Evelyn pick. I really would have gone Ekko jungler here, but who am I to disagree?
I mean, Adryh wins on it at least. It's a number.
It's a number, indeed. Okay.
They were able to flank with it effectively in the past, but I feel like against a team like H2K, yeah, I can see your look of apprehension. It's not going to be as easy.
But the start of the draft for H2K is yet again so solid. Sivir, Gragas, Gnar, you can build anything with that. You can go every direction that you want. So much versatility and so little counter potential.
Yeah, H2K can fill this out with pretty much whatever they want. We still need that support choice for KaSing. We still need Ryu's champion, but we've shown that both those have been very versatile, especially Ryu. This is a guy that he can do utility, he can carry, he can do whatever H2K needs him to do. And of course, the AListar, very smart choice in this case, but of course, we could see something different. Got a few more seconds. What does KaSing prefer? Looks like.
I'm not getting excited until I see it locked in.
That's it.
All right, Ryu
Fizz and an AListar
opts for the Fizz in the mid lane, saying, okay, PePiiNeRO likes to play these skirmish-heavy type of champions. He's played Diana. He might play the Ekko. You know, he wants to duo with that Ekko, be nimble, be swift.
But yeah, let's see what Giants decide to close this one out with, because they've telegraphed quite a lot, of course, with the Eve lock in. The Ekko is really no longer a flex option. They could, in theory, send it up top.
No, it's still a flex option.
Yeah,
so.
But, okay, and I guess the Ezreal is also. But I definitely have a feeling this is going mid.
I mean, it's likely it'll end up going mid, and that's what they want. You know, they just want Ryu to prepare for a mid pick, and if PePiiNeRO has a counter to Fizz mid, then they can flex it up, and that's the power of a flex pick, obviously. But I feel, regardless of what Giants pick here, I feel there's a solid draft on the side of H2K. The only weakness you could potentially put out is the lack of wave clear in the mid lane. But knowing H2K, what they usually do is they find an opening in the game, they get an early tower, and then they swap Ryu to a side lane, and then they put Hjarnan in mid, and then this allows KaSing to hover around mid lane.
All right. I was wrong. It's top lane Ekko. It's the first person since Huni to do that here in Europe. Let's see if Werlyb can make that work. Adryh on the Vayne. Vayne Thresh versus Sivir AListar.
Wins hard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, should destroy that lane. So I wonder if we're going to see a preemptive swap from H2K and called by Giants here. Because Vayne Thresh should definitely have an advantage in that lane. Unless Gragas finds a flanker out, then you can punish the short-range Thresh and Vayne. Especially when he's level 2. Gragas is already level 3 coming around. There are counterplay options here.
And also, you know, like we were talking about last game, it also makes the Gnar a little bit less effective too for Odoamne. So we'll see if Giants can make use of that. I feel like they do have strong lanes, strong picks across the board, but H2K are a smart team. They're a team that will not let themselves get put into bad situations as often as other teams will.
The thing is, if you back H2K into a corner, they usually have an answer ready. They don't go into the game with just one plan and think, if this works, we win. They know what their fail-safes are. They know if things goes wrong, what do we do? How do we react? You know, how do we sacrifice a lane that's losing? How do we get something back on the other side of the map? And they plan ahead with vision mostly, and with lane control, with manipulation of waves. And I think that will be enough for them to beat Giants. Giants coming out here with a bit of an unconventional composition.
Yep, well, Krepo thinks that will be enough for it, but what do you guys think at home? Why don't you go ahead and let us know. At ALISports is the place. H2K win or GIA win are your tags. And the crowd as fired up as they are. Excited, stomping on the floor to get ready for game number 2, H2K versus Giants Gaming.
Let's go over a couple of these matchups here and see if we can figure out what the game plan is. I feel like the Gnar does well into Ekko though. Ekko is a melee range champion. I feel he can get bullied by Odoamne's Gnar at the early levels. He does have some gap close potential. And if you look at the mid lane, Fizz into Ezreal, a lot of poke from PePiiNeRO that could potentially poke him out of the lane. But Ryu is strong enough a laner to deal with that. But the pressure will definitely be on PePiiNeRO's side early. If you look to the bot lane, definitely winning matchup for Vayne and Thresh. So allows easy scaling.
Of course, Hjarnan's no slouch on this Sivir. He has had some pretty seriously good numbers, averaging 6.7 on a KDA, which is, you know, it's not that much higher than the average for Sivir in general, but it's a strong pick, clearly, and he's done a lot of work with it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how strong your Sivir is, though. You're just limited by your champions, because to connect really good damage, you need to use the AListar combo offensively. As we see a little bit of poking going on here, level 1.
Well, AListar makes a big target. Pepi is able to get a little bit of harass down onto him. So it's really just been kind of like a game of chicken right here through the river. They're just trying to feel out where everyone's going.
They're just getting some deep wards, so both these teams want to know what's going on and plan ahead, as we said before. H2K doesn't like being in the dark. Don't want to be randomly swapped upon. They're obviously playing against an Evelyn. Her strength initially was the fact that she was invisible and out of the meta. That's why Evelyn came back, because Evelyn puts up a lot of pressure on these lanes because nobody knows where she is. Unless you have wards on the camps, and she can gank from angles that you simply can't ward from. And the fact, additionally, that people weren't used to playing against her. Now that people are used to playing against her again, she kind of fell off and hasn't had a good showing, especially not when facing off against tier 1 junglers like Gragas.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Frederick is able to do. But yeah, KaSing's going to walk onto that ward, so they know that that lane's happening. Do they now want to try to swapperoo back. But of course, H2K have eyes on Giants bot lane as well right now, but it looks like Giants aren't interested in taking the swap. They're going to be going down to take their normal places. Well, GODFRED's actually going on a bit of a roamer.
Yeah, see, this is what you usually do. If you get surprised by a swap, you give and you're starting in camp, you give full XP to your support, get him level 2, facilitate a roam, especially on a melee ranged mid laner here with no escape other than potentially the playful Trickster, but he doesn't have that yet.
He doesn't have it yet, indeed. loulex and Odoamne, though, are coming to the rescue. They took a break from the double jungle to save the life.
And that's the problem. H2K, they initiate the lane swap, so they start on their weak side of the jungle. Look at all the camps that are still available. For Odoamne and loulex here, double jungling. Giants kind of mirrored it too, though. They took down a similar camps on the top lane, so it's not too bad for them. However, it's getting pretty predictable right now. Both lanes are pushing. It's a 4v0. They wanted to dodge the Vayne with the Sivir, so H2K's plan is kind of working out. They initiated the lane swap, not because they wanted to find Giants in the top lane, but because they wanted to avoid them. So this speaks well for H2K, and they managed to get a good start.
Yeah, and Giants really didn't have an answer for this. They knew that KaSing was going up top.
They're going for a 3-man defense here, but they're getting products. They're too late.
Yeah, this isn't looking good for Giants right now. Frederick's there. They're not going to know he is, but they have to know something is up because otherwise Werlyb and GODFRED would not be checking.
They're not going to get it.
It's not going to go. He gets a little late on the play, and now they're just diving way past the tower as Frederick reveals himself. Odoamne and the rest of the team turn their attention that way. Tower defense not quite working so well for Giants right now.
I have yet to see this work.
Oh boy! KaSing! Oh man, that was a brilliant play and first blood over to Hjarnan. Oh boy.
E-flash from loulex, 3-man pulverize from KaSing, and as I was saying, I've yet to see this work where 3 members try to sneak in and defend against the opposing 4. This is why 4v0 is such a common lane swap meta game right now, because it's so hard to counter. If you want to counter it, hang on Frederick, you have to get underneath that tower before they show up. That's what you need to do. You need to get in that tower with 3 people, and then you can possibly defend the dive against 4 people. But if you get caught in the lane, you get proxied. Use momentum, and there's no more counterplay.
They keep trying to get in there and defend it, but they couldn't do anything. They give up one instead. They managed to basically just waste time. And now H2K get out for free.
And that's the problem. Yeah, they're getting flanked upon right now, but Frederick has to face it to a brush, so he might just get blown up immediately. Frederick is
KaSing. Oh, yeah, no, they baited him out. And Frederick's going down. KaSing gets the kill. Werlyb and GODFRED aren't done yet, but they've got to back away again. They can't get it done.
And this is the point I've been trying to make. If Giants let me, without face checking too much, is that there is not, once you go in for that move, there's no fallback, there's no counterplay if you get caught. They got proxied, and the only counterplay they had was walk back all the way to the bottom side of the map, and that loses them so much time that they have to keep committing for this play, keep trying to force something, and now they find themselves 1,700 gold behind.
And what have they gotten for it?
5 minutes.
Adryh's got free farm.
That's it.
I mean, yeah, okay, so he's got a 7 or 8 CS lead on Hjarnan. Big whoop, he's got a first blood.
He doesn't care. He's Sivir. He can be 20 CS down. He doesn't care at all. That's the only saving grace right now for Giants. Level 6 Vayne, eventually somebody will have to match her. She's 5 now, but she'll eventually get level 6 and then have an experience advantage. With proper wave control, you could go for an all-in, but knowing H2K, they will just send loulex to shadow that lane and defend. And Rio, and he got roamed on early, but you wouldn't tell.
Yeah, he didn't have too much of a problem at all since loulex and Odoamne were there to help him out. Now KaSing makes a move with loulex, and Pepi is forced back. Hjarnan perfectly happy to just farm this one out. He's not going to need to deal with Adryh. Yes, he's a level down, but I don't think he's too worried about that one.
This seems to be a recurring thing against Giants, or just any team with a relatively young shot caller. They do okay in standard lanes because that's close to solo queue and games are predictable, but once you start lane swapping and you get surprised by the lane swap, Giants were not expecting this lane swap.
No, clearly not, and they didn't react to it properly at all, especially considering how much we talked about how well they win that 2v2.
Then the shot calling starts faltering, and we saw it. 3-man up top, they try to sneak into the tower, but in full vision, they get punished. And we saw, I said it earlier, we have the Vayne. That's the strong point. That's the #1 priority for Giants here. So loulex, he recognizes that. He says, okay, Odoamne, you play safe. Ryu, you play safe. I will just shadow my lane, defend, and group on the tower. And and we do this as long as we need to equalize this lane, because all the rest of the map is winning. And we have an advantage.
And we're already starting to see that even up, too. Hjarnan is not really fallen any further behind in the farm game. He's
this is beautiful.
Starting to close the gap. Ryu now moving with loulex to look for a dive. Let's see if they do it to teleport.
This is so beautiful.
All in. Go, Adryh. He gets the lantern, but he's stopped in the mid. That's the polarize. Odo comes over the wall. GODFRED desperately trying to keep him alive, but Adryh's gonna fall to Odoamne. H2K with a 5-man stack on bot.
I just love how H2K managed to put their opponents into positions where they have no more counterplay. Nothing Giants could do at that moment could save them.
GODFRED tried for the hero save, but it just wasn't enough. H2K took everything from him there. They've got themselves a well-earned lead in this game.
Because they think so far ahead, right? They're continuously 2 steps ahead of Giants right now, and then Giants, once they realize what's coming, it's too late. Teleport already landed. KaSing was already flanking. Even if Adryh survives, he has to burn all his summers, he loses his tower, and he was the one ahead. And right now, he's the one behind as well.
And all that was enabled by just the prior planning, the deep warding. Let's take a look at how this one went again. Massive stop here. Boom.
He predicts that the lantern is going to be clicked, and that's hard to do because that's predictively, that is not reactively. Because if you have to wait for the lantern to get into motion and then press Q, it's often too late to knock him out, but he just knows either you click the lantern right now or you will die in my pulverize anyways. KaSing presses Q and beautiful.
Yeah, Giants get absolutely nothing for that either. They were just scrambling to try and make something happen. As it stands, they've got themselves in a hole to start this game. H2K ahead, a little under 2,000. And you can see the fan vote tilting in their favor, and there's a reason why.
Yeah, Hjarnan still doesn't really want to deal with Adryh right now. They swap him back up top. He doesn't want to get that duel against the Vayne matchup. Just wants to push in. Sing doesn't have a sight stone yet, just has a couple of wards, so I imagine he'll place him safely. Allow Hjarnan to push, and then let Hjarnan group on mid. Hjarnan's ranged into melee, has the support of his support, so he'll push in, and then they can rotate again, free up that resource. And meanwhile, Odoamne, he can hold his own. Some farm against the Vayne as long as he's under his tower.
Yeah, so H2K have been pretty much all over the map doing exactly what they need to, but Giants, I feel like they're still trying to lane, and that's just not going to fly. H2K will shove them all over the place, and I feel like this game will continue to spiral out of control if Giants do not take proactive steps to cover up the gaping holes in their strategy.
Yeah, and H2K, speaking of covering up, we see what the opportunity cost of that play on the bot was though. Odoamne is down. Big amount of CS and some experience, and H2K is playing like a team, letting him catch up, you know. So they sent him bottom, get that free wave on their tower safely. Can't go wrong. Then they just go up top, push it in really quickly, keep the Ekko busy, and then they group on Odoamne again. They let him farm a little bit with them, let him catch up. They don't leave their weak members exposed. If somebody is behind in a 1v1, they group on him. Or in a 2v2, we saw that. They were behind in the bot lane, so they sent in loulex.
Yes, they did. They sent in Odoamne as well. Teleport coming in. Adryh, he's going to be ganged up on, knocked against the wall. They take him down. Giants a little slow to react as the teleport comes in from Werlyb. He's trying to save the day. Hjarnan and Odo are being pushed back from GODFRED, but they turn their attention over to Frederick. The true shot barrage doesn't do a thing. Werlyb now, we've seen this before. Chrono breaks back in. H2K are low, but will they be able to get the kills? Frederick, he's going, he's gone, and so is Werlyb. Wait a minute, no, he flashed away. I got juked. And he's still down.
KaSing is going to leave up that kill too. What a support player.
Oh,
Trample takes it.
No.
He wanted to give it away, but Trample takes it.
He tried.
Noah would be proud. Making it look like an accident.
But making it look easy too. 6-1 in the kills. Every time Giants try to react, they're 2 steps behind.
Let's watch this again. Again, they're playing on Odoamne, who was behind, but hits his power spike on the ulti. Good flash by GODFRED. Dodges both body slam and knockback from loulex, but it's not enough because once Adryh gets stunned into wall, he's dead. Now look at Rio. Even though he's playing melee into ranged, he's still the first one showing up. This indicates that there's a lot of free planning on the side of H2K. Hjarnan flashes out. He gets preemptively to dodge that 2-shot barrage. And Werlyb gets a good ulti, but it's too little too late. Frederick drops, and while he still takes down Hjarnan. Now let's see this KaSing. I want the kill, but how do I make it look like an accident? That's how. Oh, oops, trample. I was just trying to save you, loulex.
300 gold. Nice and easy. Giants, however, are looking to take advantage of the moment, grab themselves dragon number 1. They do secure it a little earlier than their average, I might add, but H2K, they're not too worried about that.
Yeah, but they take the dragon, so H2K respect that, so they immediately send in KaSing. Watch where he is right now. He's on the top side of the map. He knows there were at least 4 people involved in the dragon, so puts up some deep vision in Giants' red side jungle, and then transition into the mid lane. So they're going to take that tower while Odoamne just distracts them on the bottom. If they go tier 1 for tier 1, H2K will just keep going because their left flank is warded, so they can always lean left. Giants can't push on because they don't have enough vision to do so.
Well, they can look to collapse here. They might
actually
just do that. GODFRED's looking to join Adryh and Werlyb, get the lantern throw out.
So many group fights with
they're
that
behind
Sivir.
him. Werlyb now jumped on by Odoamne. loulex comes on in. The Ekko is isolated, and they should be able to take him down. Yes, he jumps in, gets the heal, gets the AoE, but it won't be enough as Odoamne picks him up again.
How many times have we seen H2K group? You know, you're wondering, look at the scores. Odoamne involved in every kill. loulex 5 out of 7. Hjarnan 6 out of 7.
It's a team that plays together.
KaSing 6 out of 7. Together. Poor little Ryu 1 out of 7. But he's doing his job. He's keeping PePiiNeRO, the one-man carry formerly from Giants, at a 0-0-0 score. Even CS.
We said this in Champ Select though too. Ryu is a guy who can carry. That's not always what H2K need him to do. More often than not, it's not. And he plays it exactly the way he needs to.
And yeah, as we see, the largest goal lead of the split so far at 12 minutes by H2K against Giants, we see how that manifested. Good macro play, good map movements, and Ryu neutralizing that threat in the mid lane and still managing to move first. Every roam, every step they take, Ryu was there to make it first. And we say what you have to do, coop with Sivir and their Donzo, as the meme goes, but
well, so far it's working.
It worked.
They don't even have a huge amount of damage just yet, but they just have superior positioning. They have almost pre-recognition of this game. Giants Gaming have just not been able to get hardly anything done. A dragon, maybe. Stemming the gold lead, that's going to be a little harder.
Werlyb goes back in time, but H2K, they think ahead of time. They always know what's going to come. They're predicting Giants pretty well so far.
It's not a great time machine if it only goes one direction, Krepo.
Yeah. Oop.
Rio's taking a bit of damage from Adryh here. loulex is still there for defense, though. Giants are... they're cowed a little bit. They can't really make any plays for fear of H2K rotating on them.
Yeah, they're definitely holding back right now. And this gold lead is big. As we said it before, it's probably the biggest one we've had. It actually is the biggest one we've had so early in the game. And H2K, earlier on the analyst desk when we were opening the show, our panel of experts and Cyanide said how H2K actually had a seemingly weak early game. Stats did show that they had the most goal lead at 10 minutes, and I think we're starting to see why.
And they usually turn that into something big here. Let's see if they can keep it going as Frederick is forced to take the Thresh Express. Boomerang goes pretty far to hit Frederick in the back of the head, however. And now H2K turn their attention up to the top side.
Look at the wards they leave behind. They move into the jungle, they force them out, drop some vision right here. And then they can, this is step 1. Step 2 is pushing both lanes adjacent to those wards and then facilitate rotations, you know. Push in top and say, okay, can we get this tower? No, let's just move to the mid lane, push in mid. Watch Ryu, they're grouping again. H2K constantly grouping, but they're going for the Fnatic pickoff.
Yeah, there's the parallel convergence. All is revealed, and it won't hit anybody.
Now they can dive with AListar. AListar has Unbreakable Will, so he can tank the tower for at least 6 seconds without dying.
Let's see if they decide to go for it right now. Sweeping out, they know the ward's there. loulex hanging in the brush, seeing if they can test the waters with this one. It looks like they're thinking about going in. Tower's already being fired down.
They don't even have to dive.
They're backing away.
They just show Giants, hey, we have a cow here, move out of the way, or bad things will happen. And yes, Vayne gets free farm on the bottom, but they lose the tower in the top. And they'll do the same thing over and over again. They just detonate Giants. They don't even have to make the move. They say, do you really want to get dove right now? No, move away. Give us a tower.
Giants are furiously trying to get this Vayne up into a comfortable situation, up into the scaling part of the game, but it's 15 minutes in. The gold lead is so massively out of their control. It's up over 5,000 gold. That Vayne's never going to get to a point where it's powerful enough to do anything.
I mean, never say never, but unlikely.
Definitely looking less likely as it goes on.
All right, so we took stock of the situations. We talked about how H2K got here. The question we have to ask is, what is Giants going to do to come back? And I think the answer lies in what we saw in the top lane. Try and find a pick-off somehow. You know, Frederick is, for the most part, invisible. Unless he walks over those pink wards like he did just now.
Yeah.
PePiiNeRO is still ramping up. No Mura mana, just has a Sheen, so he's poking, but he needs a whole lot of poke. Stop H2K from coming over.
I really have wanted to look at what Werlyb is going to be able to do on this Ekko. The problem is he's been set so far behind. Yes, he's leading in CS, and that was, you know, our story earlier because Odoamne was more involved in the lanes, but what is he really going to be able to do? Just throw out a little bit of harass.
Yeah, you say it right there. He's still ahead in CS, and earlier we were talking about how Werlyb was 40 CS ahead, but H2K, they took a problem and they made it into a solution. They sent Odoamne down in the bot lane, buddy system. Used him for a teleport to get bot lane ahead. Then later on the bot lane covered him, allowed him to safely farm, get experience, get assists in those kills, and then he came back. He's now strong enough to deal with Ekko on his own. He has the pressure. There's pressure in the mid lane. Ryu now splitting in the bot lane. Signature H2K move. Almost every game they send Ryu to split, move Hjarnan to the middle, and then KaSing and loulex can group up as this dynamic vision duo. Again, double sidestone. And now H2K can see everything that's going on the map, and if they have the knowledge of what's going on, it's incredibly hard, if not impossible, unless you're Fnatic, to at least surprise H2K.
Waters comes out, goes a little bit wide. Adryh looks for Ryu, playful, and Trickster to get away. There's the barrel. Adryh into them. Maybe they can turn it around. He's able to get out of the area, but they've turned their attention to GODFRED, Frederick, and Werlyb now. H2K have already taken out GODFRED, however. In comes the Ekko, and Ryu's going to flash away. Everybody is bailing out. Odoamne is going down, shut down by the Vayne finally, but looks like they might lose a tower here. It's only Pepi and Adryh here to defend Krepo.
Yeah, this is about as good as it's going to get for Giants. Fish goes wide, Vayne pops ulti, gets knocked in, doesn't get insta-give, picks up a shutdown, but even then, even fight, 1-for-1, but tower yet again on the side of H2K. And imagine if Giants won that fight. 2 kills, 3 kills. Even then, all they could have picked up is maybe a dragon. H2K looking to
secure their first
reap what they sowed as well, and fantastic pressure. Look at all the wards that are littered in that jungle. H2K is just so far ahead. They're playing on Giants' side. Let's watch that again. So Fish go wide, unlucky, or dodged masterfully. Good barrel here by loulex.
They all pick up Adryh.
Good kiting and count. The Q flash from KaSing barely misses, so this allows Ekko to enter the fight, and he's wreaking havoc in the backline. He'll eventually ulti backwards. Ryu predicts that and lands on top of him. Odoamne goes in for a 1-for-1, you know, getting that top lane supremacy. Sometimes it's okay to flash into a fight and get a kill if you can kill your direct opponent. It's not about the gold, it's not about the value, it's just more about the message you send.
Well, the message H2K is sending right now is we are stronger than you in every way possible. The gold lead remains pretty massively in their favor. Let's see what KaSing can do, but Giants going to carve themselves off the side of beef. Won't be getting it today.
Just moved out of the way. I went there.
Yeah.
It's so one-sided, I have to make...
Yep. You got it.
Terrible pun.
Okay, thanks, Freak.
All right,
H2K.
Let's see how they close.
It's kind of a weird thing to say that at 19 minutes, but this is a team that does, in the mid-game, tend to get rolling, and with a massive lead, it should logically extend that they just are able to shove Giants in. But what can Giants really do here to stop this from happening? So far, it doesn't seem like anything.
Make picks. It's incredibly hard to counter H2K, as we've been saying, so we might as well just highlight what they're doing instead of keep talking about how hard it is to counter what they're doing. He right now gets caught a little bit in mid lane, but he dashes out. If he sees them coming in and creeps to his assistance, he can always Q dash out, then pop his playful fixture to get out of there. And whenever they aggress on Ryu in the mid lane, KaSing and loulex are putting up vision constantly together, constantly moving as a buddy system. So all these lanes from H2K are incredibly adept at dodging ganks. Odoamne is safe in the top lane, Ryu is safe in the mid, if not bot lane, and then Hjarnan is shadowed by his jungle support bodyguards, as if it is, and they just constantly put vision in between the lanes. Then they go back to deny the vision that Giants snuck in, whether it's through time, after 3 minutes these wards just expire, or through sweepers. Then the objectives are dark, and then H2K can do 2 things, bait or just do them.
Give themselves options all throughout the game, and yeah, Giants, they're running out of those options as their own vision has just been ebbed away throughout this game. They're trying to stack on towers to stay alive. This 1-3-1 split push is working well for them. Werlyb now, he's going to have to back away. This is going to buy some time for H2K on the top side to keep pushing in. The Fizz is still pretty much uncontested. PePiiNeRO, we got to talk about him because for a guy that has a reputation for carrying these games on this Ezreal, he's done almost nothing. Yeah,
but he's playing against Ryu, who does exactly what he has to do, is just neutralize threats. Adryh does it by picking the Lu and going for
quadra kills.
For the utility mid laner that ends up getting a crazy quadra kill. Adryh picks the TF we saw last week. He says Fox is a threat. I will jump in every fight, lock him down, get him killed. I will die in the process, but my team will win the fight. And now he picks Fizz, controls the lane beautifully, and always roams first. Very consistent.
Yes, indeed, and there's really just no answer that Giants have for him. So, with Pepi being shut down too, though, like what exactly do Giants have other than the Vayne?
Not much at this point. And look at how that tower went down. We had this one frame right there where Odoamne was on the top left, Ryu was on the top right in full vision, while there were 3 members on that tower, and that's the way H2K always close middle towers. 1-3-1 push in the middle. Tell Giants, if you're going to defend, look on your left. Odoamne is flanking you. Look on your right. Ryu is flanking you. Please back off. Give us a tower. You back up into your jungle. Look at the vision from Giants. The farthest one of their wards go is the first brush in their jungle. That's it. That's all they have. Now they have to send in Frederick, rather, on a panic mission to get the Scuttle Crab just to buy some time.
And just to see if H2K are going to dare this Baron. So Ryu now has spotted him. He'll be able to get away. Hopefully, we would think there's a playful trickster over.
See, and the respect, he
GODFRED.
gives enough respect to Frederick that there might be an Ekko in that bush, there might be a Thresh in that bush. No endless chase. No need for that. Slow and calculated play by H2K, but with enough tempo to keep it exciting.
Well, they don't take unnecessary risks. This is the thing. H2K, they're a team that you'll never catch them with their pants down, it seems.
Rarely.
Even very, very rarely. Like, maybe somebody will get caught out. Maybe you can get a pick on them. Giants are certainly hoping for that. But H2K is the team that covers their behinds, that they know that that won't amount to that much.
And look at the side lanes just to clear. They focus on Vision right now. They don't want to start this Baron because massive side wave in the bottom. They send Odoamne to go there. He has teleport. I think Ryu will end up going top here. So Hjarnan, rather, excuse me, can stay in the mid lane and push that wave, clear that wave. And KaSing and loulex are still together. They're like conjoined twins, almost. I've rarely seen them walk on their own. Full-on buddy system here right now, and it's working.
Yep. That was that Vision game. There's 4 pink wards around the dragon. Yeah, they can't clear the Scuttle Shrine, but they can just wait till it goes away. Another dragon's a minute away, so they could turn their attention down the bottom side. Giants, however, getting a little bit bold, trying to shove out the mid. The problem is the side waves are pushing.
See, and Ryu collapses after pushing out that wave. He's not split pushing any further because he knows he can get collapse on himself then. He zones Giants back out of the jungle. He doesn't let them go in, and now they hop over the wall. Go for a cheeky little Baron. I think Frederick will spot that out eventually.
Let's see if they're able to secure it, though.
Odoamne
going pretty low.
Teleport.
GODFRED's here. There's the teleport from Odo. They're going to look to try and catch. GODFRED's forced to flash away. Jump the Waters lands on him. He's going to look to chase this down as the box comes in. He's just popped by Hjarnan. Frederick caught up and pinballed around the map. H2K, easy 2 kills, and it's going to be right back to Baron for them.
And loulex has been the best Gragas I've seen at these body slam flashes. You start the body slam animation, and when it's about to end, you flash forward and you still connect and knock up. Hasn't missed a single one since. Gragas has been nerfed in the LCS and played it quite a bit. Convergence.
It's just going to buy a little bit of time for Giants.
No smite.
Will they really be able to do this? No. There's a smite for loulex. They don't have anything else. And Adryh knocked back by the Gnar. Ryu picks him up. Werlyb chrono breaks to keep himself alive, but it won't be for long as Ryu secures a double while loulex and Hjarnan get the Baron. H2K get everything in that.
Zero hesitation by H2K. Perfectly controlled. And the crowd, they love him. They love it. I'm loving it.
It's hard not to right now, Krepo.
Let's take stock and just highlight
13-2. Not even 25 minutes. They are 14,000 gold in the lead. That is absolutely insane.
And just to illustrate how they do it, first pick Sivir. Right? That indicates what they want to do. They want to group with it, use on a hunt to their advantage, and get objectives. And play as a team. And then if you look at the scoreline, KaSing involved in 12 out of 13 kills. Hjarnan involved in 11 out of 13 kills. Odoamne, 11 out of 13 kills as well. So fantastic group participation there.
They just know when to group, where to group, and how to do it. And it goes beyond, you know, group up with Sivir and press R. These guys are thinking not 2 steps ahead, not 3 steps ahead. They're thinking 4 steps ahead.
Yeah. And loulex,
although
saying I have big boy carry pants on.
Lots of belts.
Yeah, so big are these carry pants that I need 2 belts to hold them up.
Hey, Gragas
boy. He did lose some weight on that body slam particle.
Not enough though.
Yeah, not enough, but enough to warrant an extra belt. You may want to go for the suspender combo eventually, as the young Monte Cristo taught me. Here we go for a pickoff.
Oh, Ryu. He's going to go golden for just a second. Throws the fish out onto Adryh. Werlyb is going to get baited into this one. Knocked into the wall. Adryh, it's the final hour, and he's looking to try to keep this one alive for Giants as loulex is finally chunked down. Werlyb will secure a kill. That's the 3rd for Giants. But yeah, H2K, immediate response, no reaction. Odo's going to be able to shove this in for free.
That's exactly what they want to do. They sacrifice 1, but they trade every death for an objective. Giants. So thirsty for blood, they say, I really don't care about inhibitors. Who needs them anyways? Free farm coming our way. They pick up loulex, but not enough.
Powered recall, then back to base, nice, and spend that gold, that massive gold that they've got weighing those pockets down of theirs. H2K just continue to shove Giants further and further back. I mean, they've gotten themselves a little deeper vision, but not a whole lot. Giants can't really do anything right here.
I almost feel like a bit of a broken record every time I cast an H2K game, because it's always the same, or a lot of the same. And that's why I think they're such a nice team to watch and progress over time, because they're perfecting this style, which many may claim, you know, is D-Way to play League of Legends. You know, calculated objective control, not overly dwelling in the chaos. You know, getting those rotations. Sure, there's a certain caster out there that does love that, and they're constantly getting better at it. First they, one step ahead, 2 steps ahead, 3 steps ahead, and it just makes me so excited for next week. Fnatic against H2K. I really want to see that game.
A lot of people speculate that that's really just going to be the one to watch because the two styles are just so smart. But H2K's got to close this one out first in order for that to happen. Gnar's not going to connect, but it doesn't even matter. That inhibitor's going oh so low. Frederick, yeah, you can't flank on this team. They're way too big. Chum the Waters comes out on PePiiNeRO. He's just going to pull him right back into it. And now H2K are just going to say, let's take the fight. Everyone from Giants are absolutely melting. Werlyb outside of his own base, and H2K can just take their time about this one, Krepo.
H2K make the Giants look small, and they're looking for the final push here on the Nexus.
See if they can do it. The mini wave's starting to lose a little bit. Werlyb taking his chances with Odoamne, but what chance did he have? Absolutely none. One inhibitor down in the top. H2K methodical yet again, can keep backing away, pushing in again, taking everything away, and strangling Giants out of their own base.
16-4. We're only 20 minutes in, which is relatively early. Start looking to close out a game, but fantastic game by H2K. Let's watch that again. Frederick started off with the flank. That's what Evelyn has to do if you're even. It's what you have to try when you're behind. That's what's going to fail if you're this far behind. Fish connects, PePiiNeRO, Quadra Fish. Don't always click the lantern, kids. It's dangerous. Yeah, time rewind, and then Odoamne goes on a hunt. Says, okay guys, you got this. I want to kill my my other half. Again, send that message. Gnar is better than Ekko.
Clearly Odoamne is making that statement right here. So 28 minutes into the game, it's been very one-sided for H2K. Giants have been thirsty for blood though. They've tried to get a little bit back, although they've only been able to secure 4 kill spread on themselves. That's as many times as Adryh's died this game.
Yeah, and something I want to see at the end of this game is just how much damage Hjarnan has been putting out in these fights, because Sivir's always lauded as this utility carry with not too much damage mid to early, but good damage in AoE late game team fights because, yeah, Ricochet, Boomerang Blade. But Hjarnan's build has no armor penetration because they're so far ahead that Giants haven't had the chance to build any armor, really. So he forsaken, or hasn't built the Last Whisper rather. Just went for triple damage items, now building it, so
he can take his time.
Definitely interested to see how much damage he actually put out and how it related to his team. Because he's definitely a carry.
So for H2K, it looks to be all they need to do, closing out nice and safe, not taking those risks, just do everything that they've been doing all game long.
So they're waiting for the minions to come in from the top lane, and Ryu has done this before so many times. You see him E into the wave, give Giants the idea that they can catch him, and then he just Qs out every time. And he's putting the silent pressure. Look at the top lane as well. There's a massive minion wave stacking up.
Yeah, they don't need to send anybody there.
That's H2K's time window, right? When that wave hits the tower. They wait 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and then Giants have to back off or get caught.
And it looks like it's going to be both right now as Frederick is knocked into the wall, trying to shield himself up. He's gone down. Hjarnan will pick him up. In comes Odoamne to Gnar. Werlyb and Adryh back. He'll give his life for the effort, and GODFRED's going down. Ryu jumps back in, erases time. And erases the time for Giants to try and stay alive in this one. Double kill goes over to Hjarnan. It ends up being a 4-for-1. Maybe they're not done yet. Peppy knocked in. Triple kill to Hjarnan. That's going to be it. 30.5 minutes into the game. The Nexus turrets are no match. And H2K take down Giants. Absolutely dominant.
H2K, A-OK. Fantastic victory.
That look on KaSing's face. That is...
KaSing.
That is the game.
Just love that
in a nutshell. The whole team did their jobs this game. It was completely in sync with each other.
Yeah, just clean. I love, out of all the teams in the European LCS, I think H2K is one of my personal favorites to watch, just in terms of their style and their methodical approach. And just, I get all excited when I see them walk up the top lane and just play that 4v0 out and just realize what's going on. They don't need much time to figure out what Giants are doing. Giants showed up with 1 or 2 members in that top lane early game lane swap if you go back all the way to the start, and H2K knew Evelyn was there too, and they said, okay, you guys are not getting to this tower. We're not letting you enter. You shall not pass.
Yeah, H2K do this better than anyone else, pretty much. I mean, maybe the argument can be made for Fnatic, but we're going to have to wait till next week to find that out.
Yeah, that might actually be a little more, even more exciting, because all our eyes were always on Origin and Fnatic, but yeah, kind of forgot about H2K.
Well, and at this point, Kind of forgot a little bit about Giants. They started out so well, but now they've just dropped so many in a row.
And probably must be happy. Had a pen explode in his hands. Covered in ink earlier today, but the sheer amount of joy he gets out of this victory.
Oh yeah.
Pick him back up.
He always seems surprised when they do something crazy too. Like,
Probably has always that
plan
goofy
this.
face.
I love this, but hey, you know, they got the win.
Yeah, he always looks so happy when H2K take the victory. But it's easy to be happy when
he's happy a lot then.
When your team plays like this, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's really so little to be said negative about H2K. They pretty much only gave up things that they couldn't really afford to take. Back timers, you know, the early dragon by Giants, which of course didn't really avail them anything.
And I'm just trying to have a look here for damage to champions. And yeah, Hjarnan was the first member on his team. Dealt 16k damage to opposing members. The closest to him was Ryu, 13k. And then, yeah, Odoamne came in third, indicating how this game went. You know, everybody playing around the Sivir, let her group up, and just,
yeah.
Good group play by H2K.
Absolutely. Fantastic group play. Well, we want to hear a little bit more about that, though. So we're going to go ahead and send it riffside where